Why are the best disruptors in Godforge not even disruptors? Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Adventures of Adam. I'm Adam. Let's adventure. So today we're going to be talking about a phenomenon I like to refer to as the disruptor paradox. Let's take a look at Yan Wang here. Now his basic attack is the best part of his kit. It's an AoE attack with a chance to place speed down 2. That's really good. But then when we look at his core, it's a 3-turn cooldown, single target attack, with a chance of placing 1 of 4 random debuffs. So if you're trying to build a team with a specific strategy in mind, and you're counting on him to do defense down or attack down, or if you're counting on him to place any one of these individual effects, it's not going to do it very reliably. So this is a very bad core, in my opinion. He's just unreliable. And it's single target, which means it only works in single target encounters, like a boss. And aside from his basic attack, he doesn't have a ton of boss utility unless lock core and lock passives can be placed on bosses. Now, I suspect that they might be able to, because these behave like a disable effect, but they're not coded as disables. They're debuffs. So I am under the assumption that these can be placed on bosses. If they cannot, then his ultimate is useless in any boss fight, which is horrible, which means you're not going to bring him on your team. The fact that his crowd control effect is on an ultimate means you can't use him reliably in PvP to do this effect, because the enemy will get their turns before you have a chance to place this on them. And it's a very high cost. So what can we do to make Yan Wang better? I talked about this in my hero rankings video, but we're going to talk about it in this video too. I think there's 2 things you could do. In my ranking video, I suggested you switch the ultimate and the core. So this becomes his core ability, and then this becomes the ultimate, and give it a really low cost. So he does it very frequently, and it will be exciting to play with and fun to watch. He'll just be popping off the ult once every couple turns, just bam, 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 throwing out debuffs. It'd be really fun to watch him play out, and it'd be fun to play with if you're playing on manual. Another thing you could do is switch the core and the basic. So that way, it's a 3-turn cooldown, AoE, speed down 2 with a 100% chance to land, and then you make it so his basic attack is doing the random debuffs, a single target. Then he's actually fine, assuming we can place lock core and lock passive on bosses. I don't know if that's true. This is just my assumption that we can, because otherwise they would make them disables, right? The fact that they're debuffs makes me feel like they can be placed on bosses. If they can't, then he's just has, I don't want to say no boss utility, but he has more boss utility if you make this his basic attack, because then he's like, every time he gets a chance to attack, he's going to do something. So small changes could be made to make him good, but he's still the worst in my opinion. Next we have Izanami. So she does corrupt on her core, which the unit that places the corrupt debuff will steal buffs received from the enemy who has corrupt upon them. And then it reduces by a turn duration every time they steal a buff. And then she's also got this curse too. It does 50% reduce incoming healings, shields, and barriers. That's not bad. It's definitely a PvP skill, unless there's bosses that do shields and barriers and have a ton of healing. Maybe there is. We don't have the full picture. But for general utility, having boss utility is fine. But if you don't have any wave utility, you're just not carrying your weight until you get to the boss. Now, the initiative down 2 on the basic is fine. That's a good thing to have. But she really feels like a PvP hero, and there's nothing wrong with being a PvP hero. But I don't know. She just doesn't disrupt enough, in my opinion, for just general use content. I'm sure she'll have a niche somewhere, but if I pulled her on my account in the state that she's in, I would kind of be disappointed. So what would I do to fix her? I don't know. I'm glad that she's work in progress. That means they're currently looking at her. But the ultimate doing AoE speed down 2 is fine. Curse, it's like, okay, sure. I would really like to see some disruptors place defense down and attack down. Like, we've really only seen those abilities on like slayers and defenders. Like, if her core removes shield from all enemies and then plays defense down too, now all of a sudden she's a badass. Not only is she going to be super great in PvP, but she'll have utility in PvE as well. Set up your nukers to nuke the enemy waves. And then I think she's fine. Like, she wouldn't need that much help. Just something that has general utility in a wide variety of areas on her core ability. And, you know. Also, the AoE turn meter reduction is cool. Like, she just needs something. But let's move on. So this is the set. We're going in order from least powerful to most powerful disruptors, in my opinion. Next, we have Pazuzu here. Basic attack, accuracy down. That's fine. I don't hate it. It's something. For a basic, it's fine. It's totally cool. But then, like, AoE corrupt, you know, again, seems like a PvP skill. I don't know what the enemies are going to look like in waves. And yes, there are, like, when we did the alpha, there were plenty of buffs being thrown around. But if you had a crowd control ability, you wouldn't need to steal their buffs because they wouldn't be able to buff themselves. Like, placing corrupt is cool, and it does disrupt the enemy plan, but you're still going to get punched in the face by the enemy. So, I mean, unless they're an order enemy, but this specificity of the enemies needing to be under order before the fear is placed, which, by the way, fear isn't a debuff or disable that we've seen. So if we go over to ravenpyros.com real quick, we look at the debuffs and disables. This could be one of two things that we've seen. It could be Terrify, which would increase their divinity cost by 50%, which that's kind of like fear. I could see this, just being a typo. Or it could be Despair, which is a crowd control effect, and it makes them skip their next turn. Again, it's like, yeah, you're disrupting them, but they're still going to hit you. So it's the crowd controls are so much more effective on a disruptor. I love that he places vulnerable too. That gives him good boss utility, and he's going to reduce with Curse 2, it's going to reduce the healing to whoever has Curse 2. It's going to reduce the efficacy of shields and barriers. Like, he's not bad. His passive is cool, but like, he just doesn't do enough. Like, if I pulled him, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll stick him in the vault until I'm ready to start taking PvP seriously. And then maybe not even then. Like, who knows? I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he does much. And then we're kind of like in the next tier of disruptors, because at least Loki does an AoE crowd control. However, it's sleep. Now, sleep reads enemies under sleep when they're dealt damage. The duration of sleep is reduced by a turn, and they also take 30% more damage. So sleep isn't bad because you could use it to either crowd control or you could use it as a damage boost. So it's got a little bit of utility. Early game, you're going to want this to be crowd control. Like, that 30% damage boost is not likely enough to just one-shot the wave. You want to speed tune it so he's the slowest on your team, all your damage healers goes, then he places sleep, and then all the enemies get their turn skipped, and then you start going again, and then maybe you kill them on the next wave of turns that your team takes. I like that he has this turn meter reduction. If you knock the sleep off with damage, it's going to push it back. Charm is cool. If you place Charm on the enemy, and someone tries to attack Loki, whoever has the Charm debuff on them will get attacked instead. Like, that's just really cool. Like, that's probably the best skill in this kit. It's kind of cool. Sleep is nice, but it's super hard to use. Like, he's going to be so niche. He's not bad. He's just so niche. Like, I think legendaries need to have more general utility is kind of the point I'm getting at here. But let's take a look at the next one. All right, so next after Loki, we have Peroon. Now, in my opinion, Peroon is a step up from Loki because the way his abilities work in tandem with his passive. Now, the AoE 20% turn meter reduction on a 3-turn cooldown is nice. That is some crowd control. And the fact that in a dungeon where there's 5 enemies, he's going to push their turn meter back by 20%. and then that's going to boost his own turn meter. He's going to gain 20% turn meter when he uses his A3. So it's kind of like Deacon Armstrong, where he pushes the enemy team's turn meter back and then boosts his own forward. He's only doing himself, not the whole team. So he's not even as good as Deacon in that regard. Speed down basic attack is great. I love this. It fits with the theme of his kit with turn meter reduction. He's decreasing their speed. The ultimate hitting 7 times at random. And when he's booked, each hit only has a 50% chance to decrease the target's turn meter. Like, dude, come on. Like, on average, this is going to be a 20% turn meter reduction on average against a boss. That's just not enough, dude. Like, in my opinion, I don't know. I don't know how fast the bosses are. And yes, speed down 2 is going to reduce the rate at which the boss gains turn meter. And then he's got the core. He's boosting his own turn meter every time he uses it. But this is only a 4% turn meter against bosses. So the only opportunity he has to really go like pop off and go nuts in a boss fight is if this ultimate does any damage or does any work. But on average, you know, he might get like four hits on average, 3 to 4. So he's going to get 3 to 4 turn meter boosts of 4% each. Like, if this boosted the entire team's turn meter, then he would be nuts. Then he would be like a speed freak. I would automatically put him in every team. He would be an auto include. Now, maybe that's an awakening bonus, but I'd really like to see him have some good like team utility baseline. Like, if I pulled him and I had no other disruptors, I would still probably put him in my team just because it's better than nothing. But this feels like an epic ability to me, or a rare. Like, this doesn't feel like a legendary ability. And it takes books to go from 35 to 50. Like, legendary books to go from 35 to 50. Like, it should start at 50 and go to 75 or 85, something like that. Like, it's just not enough, in my opinion. He definitely needs some love. Then the next best disruptor is a brawler. This disruptor, this brawler, has a 3-turn crowd control. Sorry, a 100% chance to place crowd control on a 3-turn cooldown. And whenever he kills an enemy, he has a chance to take an extra turn, which will cool this down and come back to it sooner. So he's placing crowd control so the enemies can't attack you. And if he kills someone, he gets an extra turn. And then he gets closer to doing this again to keep the enemies locked down. He's one of the best disruptors that we've seen so far, and he's not even a disruptor. He's a brawler. The brawler is a better disruptor than every other disruptor we've seen. Next on the list, Anubis. Again, not a disruptor. He's a brawler. His basic attack, if he kills an enemy, places despair on other enemies for 1 turn. This is on a basic attack. There's no cooldown. So as long as he's getting a kill when he attacks, he's going to crowd control the entire team. And he also places initiative down 2 on enemies with his core. So he's slowing down the rate at which they gain their ultimates. Anubis is a better disruptor than most of the other disruptors that we've seen so far. And he's not even a disruptor. He's a brawler. Hades. Now, this is probably, in my opinion, the best disruptor that we've seen. His core ability has an AoE crowd control for 100% chance to land, and it has the lock ultimate potential. Again, hearkening back to Yan Wang, I'm assuming this can be placed on bosses. If it can't be placed on bosses, I don't know what the point of it is. Because when an enemy is under a disable, they can't use their ultimates. So I'm assuming bosses will be immune to disables, and we can crowd control the bosses with lock ultimate. If that's not the case, I see no other point in placing both of these. Maybe you could have the Disease Talons weapon. Because this is a debuff, not a disable, you can place it for an additional turn with Disease Talons, and then you place it for 2 turns if you're lucky. If you win the coin flip with a maxed out epic weapon, then when the despair wears off, they'll still have their ultimate locked out for a turn. But yeah, I mean, speed down 2, initiative down 2, he's got good boss utility here. AoE turn meter reduction, AoE crowd control, and he's got the spot crowd control for emergency situations on his basic attack. And yes, it's only sleep, but it's the basic attack. And you could use it two ways. If someone's about to get their turn and you really don't want them to take that turn, you put them to sleep with a 50-50 chance. Or if they're almost dead, you put the sleep on them, and then your damage dealer is going to deal 30% more damage to him the next time they attack. He's going to be great in arena. Assuming Lock Ultimate can be placed on bosses, he's going to be really, really good on bosses. Even if it can't, speed down 2 and initiative down 2 with a 20% turn meter reduction. That's good enough to get, like, just that alone is enough to give him utility in a boss fight. But this would be nuts if this can be placed on bosses. So, in my opinion, Hades is the best Disruptor. But he's not really even the best Disruptor. In my opinion, the best Disruptor is Athena. Now, why do I find Athena to be a better Disruptor than the best actual Disruptor? Well, her ultimate, if she uses it while under shield, it has a 100% chance to place Petrify, and the Petrify cannot be blocked or resisted. So if you had another shield hero on your team in PvP, you can do like a turn meter booster to go first to propel your team ahead of the enemy team. Place a shield with your shield hero. Use Petrify with Athena to 100% crowd control the enemies that can't be blocked or resisted. And then you have your damage dealer go and smash them down. And if they survive, guess what? They've been petrified. They all take their turns. They lose their turns because they were petrified, and then you get a second go at them. It's nuts. She's so good. And she'll have great general carry utility in PvE because she's placing a big shield on all allies with up to 15% damage reduction after you've used it for the third time. So it's going to have passive damage reduction, and it's going to be a big shield. She places defense up on all allies for a turn, making them tankier so they take less damage. And then when enemies are attacking you, she's going to heal all allies being attacked under shield by 50% of the damage inflicted onto the shield. And if the shield is broken or removed or depleted, she's got a 50% chance to crowd control them with Petrify for a turn. She's just so good. She's the best Disruptor in the game, and she's not even a Disruptor. In my opinion, the only actual Disruptor worth building early is going to be Hades, at least the legendary Disruptors. All the other legendary Disruptors are like super niche. And this is what I'm calling the Disruptor paradox. The best Disruptors in the game aren't even Disruptors. We've got 2 Brawlers who are better than all the other Disruptors, except for Hades, and then a Defender who's the best. And she's not even a Disruptor. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. This is something that's been bugging me for a while now, and fellow content creator Scrolls of Anubis and I were chatting about this a bit in the content creator chat, and I just wanted to make this video to get my thoughts out there. So make sure you check out his video too. He just put it out yesterday. But yeah, that's just how I feel, and hopefully they can make some tweaks to the kits so that there's no more Disruptor paradox. I'm not saying nerf the other heroes. I'm saying make the Disruptors better. Make them exciting to pull, make them exciting to play, and don't make it so you have to get them to Awaken 5 before they're actually playable. That's all. If you can do that, I think Godforge is going to be a great game, and maybe we can dispel the Disruptor paradox. But anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I will see you all in another video soon. But until next time, everyone, take care.